The best build for Aventurine, guys, that's what we're going to be talking about today. And he's going to be working just like the rock that he's named after, that green hard stone. And he'll be defending you on every single situation, unless you face off against Acheron's black hole. Then you might die. So guys, like I mentioned before, what Aventurine's going to do, he's like the rock for your team, right? So the main thing he does is put shield for the whole team. He goes, money, shield, whole team, so they're not taking damage. The really big thing with the shield, though, is it's going to be doing multiple things, right? First of all, it'll be increasing all of your allies' effect resistance by 50%, which is really, really nice. On top of that, guys, every single time your allies get hit or he gets hit, he'll be accumulating blind bet points. Every single time you get 7 blind bet points, he'll be doing a follow-up attack. Every single time he does a follow-up attack, he'll be putting additional shields in your allies as well. Oh my god, it's so good! On top of this, guys, he is a defense scaling character, meaning you can just kind of feed him all the defense he would ever want. That's going to affect the amount of damage he does. It's also going to be affecting the amount of crit rate he has as well. So this makes him kind of like a sub DPS in a sense. That's really not like a sub DPS. He's like below a sub DPS. If you were to rate characters, you'd have like main DPS, sub DPS, his DPS right here. So that's what I would say his defense is at, but like I said, his main strength is in his shield and also going to be his ultimate move, because his ultimate move gives you blind bet points, which builds you up to getting another follow-up attack, which gives you extra shield. It's also going to be putting 1 debuff on the enemy, making him really good for Acheron-based teams, and on top of this, guys, it's going to be increasing the amount of crit damage you're able to do to one enemy as well. So ultimately, it's going to be helping out in a lot of scenarios for crit-based teams, or teams that rely on crit rate or crit damage to do their real damage. But that's really all I have to say about how his kit kind of works. Let's go ahead now and talk about his best in slot light cones, because he has a lot of options for light cones he can use. Like, and I mean a lot of options he can use. Obviously, guys, his first best in slot option is going to be his signature light cone, because his signature light cone, guys, is going to be increasing his defense. It'll also be increasing his own crit damage, and if when you hit a follow-up attack on an enemy, it does have a chance to put a vulnerability debuff on the enemy as well. So this does give you an increased debuff on the enemy. So this could be really good for something like an Acheron team, or even like a follow-up team in general, right? You're able to do more damage on the enemy. But the one thing that this doesn't have, which I kind of wish it did have, is an aggro. I would really like an aggro on this light cone, and that's where his second best in slot option, which is Moments of Victory, which is Depart's signature light cone, comes in handy at, because first of all, it does have an inherent aggro to it, meaning you aggro characters for him to be getting hit, so he'll be building up blind bets points even faster. On top of this, it'll be increasing his effect hit rate too, which increases his chances of putting the debuff on the enemy from his ultimate move. And then on top of that, whenever he's attacked, it's going to be increasing his defense even more so that means it makes his shield stronger, and then also it'll be increasing the damage he does with his follow-up moves and stuff like that too. But that's all the super pay-to-win options. That's all the 5-star options, and guys, we're free-to-play players. We're relatable players, right? The real relatable players here, and we're not going to be running these 5-star light cones on our characters, right? So let's go ahead and talk about the relatable 4-star option. Day 1 of my new life. This light cone also works very well too, because first of all, it'll be giving a damage resistance increase for the whole team, and then on top of this, guys, is going to be giving inherent defense increase for him as well. So gonna help his shields out, just gonna help him out in general, do some damage, get some increased crit rate, stuff like that. So overall, a very good light cone to use. And then I want to mention what I personally use on my Aventurine, which is going to be Landau's Choice. Landau's Choice, in my opinion, is the best in slot 4-star light cone, just because of the fact it's increasing aggro rate. Now, while it doesn't increase his defense, which means it doesn't increase his other stats, it does give him damage reduction, meaning he's taking less damage when being hit. But the main thing here is increasing his aggro rate, so he's being hit more, which means he gets more blind bet points up, which means he's also giving more shield to the team faster as well. So that's really good in my opinion. And then the final option that I would even say to use for light cones is if he's running an Acheron team, you do not have Zhao Shou on the team, hands down the best in slot and option that you use on him. And the option that I have 2 of at S5 right now is Trends of Universal Market. This light cone was looked down so badly when it first came out, because it didn't really have any use. It put a dot on the enemy whenever you got attacked, and then it gave you defense scaling as well, which I guess is overall nice. But who needs to put dot on the enemy when you're getting attacked as a preservation unit? Acheron, because that's a free debuff application, and you can get so many stacks with using this light cone. It's insane, right? This will supercharge Acheron in so many different scenarios, especially if you're against enemies that attack you a lot. This will just keep ramping the amount of debuffs you're stacking on that enemy, or the amount of instances you're putting on the enemy, which is then going to be supercharging someone like Acheron. So really would recommend this light cone if you do plan on putting him on a team with Acheron and you don't have Zhao Chu already. Really good option there. All the other option you can use corsair for 2. This is a newer light cone you can use. Can work. I haven't used it. I haven't tested it, but it looks like it can work. It has Sunday on the cover of it. Charmony Festival. Surely it'll work, right? Now I want to talk about the best in slot relics and stats and everything like that for Aventurine. And that's going to be you subscribing to my channel right now. I hope you caught my Aventurine there, because this is my ad read. I don't have any sponsors, so please hit that subscribe button. You are now witnessing greatness. I am the best guide maker this planet has ever known. Obviously, you can tell from my like to dislike ratio. Anyways, guys, hit the subscribe button now for some more copium in the future, and let's go ahead and talk about his best in slot relics now. First of all, guys, his best 4-piece set, probably defensive-wise, is going to be something like Knights of Purity Palace. Why? Because it gives them increased defense, and then on top of that, it'll be increasing the max damage that shields can receive as well. So this is very good for a, I guess you could say, a defensive build for him. I wouldn't say this is the best in slot build. This is not the build that I use on him. I personally run 2-piece set on him. I run a 2-piece Pioneer with a 2-piece follow-up set. I'm a little feisty whore for getting some just extra damage out. So what I recommend is probably a 2-piece Pioneer with a 2-piece follow-up set, so you're getting the increased follow-up damage, and then you're doing increased damage on debuffed enemies, which he can put debuffs on the enemies, so you get increased damage that way as well. Now with this, you obviously have to be focusing on getting a lot of defense, because he will die if you don't do that. But I do think that this is a really good set that you can run. But outside of that, guys, if you wanted to be kind of defensive, you didn't want to farm 4-piece Purity Palace up, you can run 2-piece Purity Palace for the increased defense, and then you can run 2-piece of really anything, right? You can either run 2-piece Hacker Space, which gives you increased speed, 2-piece of the new Ordeal set, which gives you increased speed, 2-piece Scholar, which gives you increased crit rate. I mean, there are just so many different options you can run here, guys, that pick and choose what you want. That's what I would recommend, though. So let's go ahead and talk about those planner sets right now. I think his best in slot planner set, guys, it's going to be Broken Keel. You basically get this for free, right? You basically get the ability off from this for free. It's going to be giving you increased effect res already, but on top of this, guys, increased crit damage, meaning he is probably not going to get CC'd, which if he doesn't get CC'd, that means he can launch more follow-up attacks off, that means he gives more shield for the team. On top of that, increased crit damage for the rest of the team, so that's a free crit damage bonus for the whole team. On top of that, it's going to be adding with that crit damage debuff you're doing to the enemy as well, so that's also very good on my book. This is bar none what I think to be the best set you can run, planner set you can run on them. There are other sets. You could run Duran, you could run an Inert Salsado. I don't really recommend it. I really recommend Broken Keel here. I do think it is by far his best in slot planner set you can get. But with that being said, now let's go ahead and talk about his best substats and main stats, recommended stats right now. Starting off with some of those main stats first. On the boots, guys, I would be recommending either speed or defense percentage. Now, this is going to depend on how fast you want them to be and stuff like that. I would definitely be running defense here if you cannot reach 4K defense outside of this. Now, on the body piece, I would recommend either defense or crit damage. If you want to run him spicy and him to do some extra damage. On the planner sphere, I'd recommend either defense percentage or imaginary damage. Like I said, if you want to run him spicy and do some extra damage. On the link rope, I would recommend either defense percentage or energy regen. It's going to depend on what you can get. If you can get his defense up to the threshold you need to meet, then this is absolutely appropriate to run. Like I said, guys, you need to reach about a 4,000 defense minimum before doing anything else. That is the #1 priority you need to hit. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into those recommended in substats now. For these substats, guys, I would recommend defense, speed, crit damage, crit rate, effect res. These are the main substats I would recommend with a priority on defense, guys. Like I said, you want to be getting at least 4,000 defense on him. After that, guys, you can get him to 134 speed if you want. And then after that, you focus on crit rate, crit damage. Probably just focus on getting the crit rate he already kind of has on him. He gives himself so much crit rate already. And then the crit damage, I mean, you can get that up as high as you want to as well. And then obviously effect res as well, so he's not taking any type of debuffs or anything like that. Overall, guys, what you want to be hitting with him is 4,000 defense. Focus on getting the 4,000 defense before anything else. If you can hit 4,000 defense and don't get any of the other stats, he will still work perfectly fine. You get the other substats as you go through there. That's why, as you see here, I'm putting like little brackets around these, because if these are not necessary, the 4,000 in my opinion is necessary, so make sure you're focusing on that. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. That's gonna be my best build for Mr. Aventurine. If you haven't already, go ahead and please hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. There's not really much to talk about. He is a sustained character at the end of the day. Like, his main job, sustaining. There's not really much to build or use with him on. I mean, like, team wise, he's pretty universal, can be ran across at just about any team. Follow up being his best, obviously, but can still be ran across any team with him being a sustained character. He'll keep every team alive. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it. See you guys later. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, something, I don't know. Bye, guys. See you later in the next one. Yeah, guys, bye. That was cringe, man. Fuck me.